Hey there, MrAlgeBraun here. Today we're going to be solving an equation using the subtraction property of equality. So let's go ahead and jump in. I've got two problems here for us. So in this top problem, we kind of have a basic one going on here. And so we are adding 18 to z. It's kind of flipped around, but it's positive. So we would need to subtract 18. Because this is positive, we need to undo that by doing the opposite. And so what we do to one side, we do to the other. And so this cancels out. And so we would take 40 minus 18. And so z is left by itself here on the left side. And so this is going to end up being 22. Really easy math. So what we want to do when we get to the end here is we want to come over. I always write this twice so we can check it. And if you're new to solving equations and watching this video, you probably should be checking. So what we do is we copy down the problem, we substitute in what we found for z. So this is substitution. I always like to flip back to blue to show you that everything else stays the same. Nothing on this line changes except for z. And so we get this equal to 40. And so now we would want to take 18 plus 22 if you need to show the math over here. This one's so basic that you probably wouldn't need to, but just in case, we show our work out in the margin and we never erase that. And so we end up getting 40 equals 40. And so this is a true statement and therefore a valid check. So this has a high probability of being correct. Okay, so this is the basic problem. I went ahead and pulled something a little, what most students think is a little more difficult because it has decimals in it. So again, we have a positive number, and so what we're going to want to do is subtract to get rid of that. So positive 8.5 minus 8.5 is going to get this to cancel out. What we do to one side, we always do to the other. And so now we're going to have an integer set up here. So we're going to be left over with t equals. So when this one's positive and this one's a negative. So when adding integers of unlike signs, you need to find the difference. So I'm going to come over here and do this 8.5 minus my 7.1. And so we're going to get a 4 and a 1. And so this is 1.4. So let me finish that integer statement. When, I think I said when adding, but what I'm thinking here, I automatically do this in my mind. I'm adding a negative here, subtracting a positive and adding a negative are the same thing. As you do more of these, you just automatically memorize what you need to do, and that's kind of what I did there. So we're doing the same thing as adding a negative. So when adding integers of unlike signs, we want to find the difference, which we did, and then keep the sign of the larger number. Now, we would be thinking absolute values here. So the absolute value of 7.1 is 7.1, and the absolute value of negative 8.5 is 8.5. So this is the bigger absolute value. And so its sign was negative. And so our answer should be negative. Okay. So in case we're working on solving equations using the subtraction property, but in case you're not so secure on integers, that was a very quick lesson on that. And so t equals negative 1.4. So we're going to come over here and put 1.4 right there, substitute in for t, and let me switch back to blue because everything else again stays the same. So 8.5 minus 1.4 should equal 7.1 if we did everything right. So again, we're going to come over here in the margin and we're going to show our math. And so we're going to get 7.1 with this, which is what we should get. So 7.1 equals 7.1, and that is a valid check. So therefore we have a high probability of getting this correct. Okay, all right, so that's going to bring us to the end of this video of the day. If you would subscribe and check out I have free tutoring on Facebook that's in the comments. I also have a web page where I have lots of videos way more in depth than this one. So check all that out, and I will catch you later. Mr. Braun signing off.